As we have seen, the importance of winning and losing cannot be overstated because the champion does not become a champion without experiencing both. Quote unquote, Kirk Mango and Davida Lemont.
At the outset, I welcome you all on the occasion of 8th Chairman's Championship and a warm good morning. With immense pleasure and joy, I take this opportunity to humbly receive and welcome all the eminent and distinguished personalities.
I humbly welcome the distinguished jury members, Dr. Sunobar Hussaini ma'am, Dr. Uma Shankar sir, and Dr. Tajwa ma'am. I welcome the most dynamic and honorable President Academic Council and CEO JJ Group, Dr. Chandrasekhar DP sir. They were magnetic and vivacious respected Secretary Academic Council, Dr. Mona Mehdi ma'am. They were poised and humbled respected Joint Secretary, Mrs. Lalita Kosaraju ma'am. I wholeheartedly welcome the heads, center heads, and coordinators of the participating schools.
The Chairman's Championship event is the pride of JGI Group of Schools. It's been an integral part of it. JGI has the ethos for creating such innovative platforms for our young and buzzing new talents. It's been 7 years. This event has progressed from leaps and bounds. Initially, we began it with physical activities, and then it moved to Model Youth Parliament, and now we are here with Sustainable Development Goals. We have moved from local to global platform as this is a second edition of the Chairman's Championship, where we have joined hands not only with the schools across nations, but also we've collaborated with the schools across the globe. And today, students from international schools are with us. I wish everyone all the best. Light and brightness has always been equated with positivity, motivation, harbinger of good, and associated with spiritual beings.
Light is a form and a symbol of Tej.
The lamp invokes Samsoma Jyotirgmay means the lamp leads us from darkness to light.
It burns only to give message of peace and light to the man.
The presence of Agni ensures success.
Before starting any auspicious events or rituals, it is a tradition to light a lamp.
Flame symbolizes wisdom and knowledge.
A lamp teaches us to be upright, rise upwards, and dispel darkness.
Now, I request all the distinguished dignitaries and the JJI family to join in the lighting of the lamp. Thank you, all respectable dignitaries.
School song reverberates the ethos of school's philosophy, and ethics brings us all together for doing best for our school and create a conducive and healthy environment. So here comes the JGI school song.
We carry the torch of Jain heritage of Cambridge School. We carry the torch of Jain heritage of Cambridge School. Heritage, follow, times ahead, we taking our stride. Heritage, we follow, times ahead, we taking our stride. We carry the torch of Jain heritage of Cambridge School. We carry the torch of Jain heritage Glorious pastime, its grandeur we carry. Confidence of being a part of jet set age. Glorious pastime, its grandeur we carry. Confident of being a part of jet set age. With earnestness and zeal, we move abreast with moving time. We hold relentless devotion and passion for excellence. Aiming high to touch new heights. Aiming high to touch new heights. To touch new heights. To touch new heights. We carry the torch of Jain heritage. Jain heritage of Cambridge School. We carry the torch of Jain heritage. Jain heritage of Cambridge School.
What a beautiful and melodic composition.
Be spectacularly great at what you do. Wear your passion on your sleeve and hold your heart in the palm of your hand. And work hard, really hard. Quote unquote, Robin Sharma.
This is truly personified by a great trailblazer who is appropriately well for an accomplished administrator and a team leader with proven track record in people, schools, and foundation management in a variety of settings.
A people and task-oriented individual with the ability to build strong relationships, committed to the highest levels of professional and personal excellence, one of the strongest pillars of JJI Group of Schools, a visionary, a far-sighted leader, an epitome of diligence and grace. Recently, one more feather has been added in the crown of JJI. Ma'am has bagged Educationist of the Year Award 2022 by IMT in collaboration with the Government of Mauritius.
She is none other than the respected Secretary Academic Council, Dr. Mona Mehdi ma'am. Now may I humbly request respected ma'am to address the gathering. It's over to you.
Thank you so much, Harshit. A very good morning, respected CEO, JGI Group and President of the Academic Council, Dr. Chandrasekhar DP, Joint Secretary Academic Council, Ms. Lalita Kosaraju, esteemed jury members, Dr. Sanobar Hossaini, Assistant Professor, Mitibai College, Mumbai University, joining us from Mumbai, Dr. Uma Shankar, Assistant Professor, Department of Professional Studies, Christchurch, Bangalore, joining us from Bangalore, Dr. Tajwar, International Standard Verifier for Pearson, UK, and visiting faculty with the Institute of Applied Technology, Dubai and Sharjah, joining us from Dubai, principals from different schools and branches of JGI Group, respected heads and coordinators of participating teams from across the globe, dear participating team members, students, teachers, parents, and distinguished guests who are viewing us this event live. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all on this 8th Chairman's Championship, an important event in the academic calendar for the JGIans. In the interest of everyone, would like to let you know the idea behind this event. This event was conceptualized by our CEO, Dr. Chandrasekhar DP, and mentor way back in the year 2015 with a clear intention of bringing all the schools of JGI Hyderabad cluster together and create a healthy competition amongst the branches. And of course, learning through experience. Initially, it started with the sports events, and then it included the EduFest, moved on to the Model Youth Parliament, and the next level last year was the first edition of the International Student-Led Conference involving schools from India and Dubai. And this year, we have the second edition of the International Student-Led Conference with participating teams from India, UAE, Dubai, and Malaysia. The entire journey was just now displayed during the school song. The idea is to give exposure to the students on the global issues, to work towards it through research work and presentation of thoughts with the exchange of thoughts. I thank all the principals and heads in joining hands in making the students work towards a single goal, sustainable development goals, need of the hour. 10 teams, 30 participants, 10 coordinators, 10 heads, 3 jury members, and the Academic Council, with its core team, has worked relentlessly to reach this final day of oral presentation of International Student-Led Conference, second edition on Sustainable Development Goal. It was a process. Selection of teams, allotment of goals, as the 6 goals had already been covered in the first edition, rules and regulations, registration, submission of abstract, submission of research articles, adhering to deadlines, reaching out to the jury members, the evaluation of these, which has already taken place. And today we will be witnessing the oral presentation of these bright youngsters. I'm sure it's going to be an experience for all to see these young minds speaking on the global goals about which they have already shared in the research article. It's also going to be an enthralling experience for the jury members who have already given their suggestion to add runners-up category to the awards, as they felt the students have worked very hard and deserve more awards. On behalf of the Academic Council, I take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to the eminent jury members who have been involved in this process for the last 1 month, despite their extremely busy schedule. They have gone through the papers extensively, and the inputs and suggestions are valuable. As part of the conference proceedings, all the research articles related to this conference will be published and shared with the participating teams. On behalf of all the JGINs and the Academic Council, I extend a warm welcome to you, the eminent jury. Hearty welcome to the team members participating in today's competition, and wish you good luck. Thank you once again for adhering to the deadlines, students, and being proactive throughout. It speaks about the zeal and enthusiasm you have in bringing the change with your work. A big thank you to your principals for choosing you to represent their school, the coordinators and mentors who have helped you to reach till here. All the very best. Participating in such big events is in itself an achievement. So congratulations to each one of you. Without much of ado, I once again extend a hearty welcome to all and wish you all the very best. Thank you. Over to you, Harshit. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for insightful and motivational words.
The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. At its heart are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing in a global partnership. I'm very glad to share that the theme for the 8th Chairman's Championship is Sustainable Development Goals, and our participants are all geared up for the oral presentation. The participants have done the extensive research on the given topic, and they submitted the abstract and research paper articles on the topic within the stipulated deadline, and today they are ready to go for the oral presentation.
Now we will move ahead with the oral presentation by different teams. And the first presentation is by Team 1, Cambridge International School, Dubai. Their goal is number 2, Zero Hunger. And the participants are Ananya Pramod, Archana Suraj, and Diya Mohan. Over to you, Team 1, and all the
Team 1, your time starts now.
Good morning, respected judges, teachers, and fellow peers. We, Ananya Pramod, Archana Suraj, and Diya Mohan, are representing Cambridge International School, Dubai. The goal that we are going to be addressing today is Sustainable Development Goal 2, Zero Hunger. To continue to our next segment, I would like to offer the spotlight to my team member, Archana Suraj.
Next, in this segment, we will be discussing the causes of hunger and some of its root causes. Next, take urban cities, for example. Urban cities are much more developed and maintained than rural areas. This is due to the vast economic difference between the two groups. Though there are many highly developed countries, such as the USA or India, these countries still face a major issue, which is the continuous growing gap between the rich and the poor. Political instability and natural disasters cause destruction of resources and property. Most rural areas are located far away from basic needs such as clean water, transportation, healthcare services, and educational institutions. Overpopulation causes an increase in the demand of resources, but with not enough to provide, the rural people are left to make do with the scarce resources left. Poverty and unemployment are also important factors for hunger. Since most corporate jobs require a basic education, most rural people fall behind as they don't have enough money to provide for a good education nor apply for jobs. They face debt traps and fall into a constant cycle of poverty, which they can't break from. Next, now we will move on to what SDG 2, Zero Hunger, really tackles. Next, hunger is not the only issue that we should tackle. Nutrition plays a key role in the growth and development of a person, and missing out on the important vitamins and minerals needed for our body can cause an unhealthy lifestyle. The problem arises when we try to implement good nutrition programs, as there needs to be someone well educated on the subject to personalize nutrition suited for each person. Malnutrition is mainly caused by improper feeding practices, unclean food and water sources, and an unawareness of proper nutrition and how to implement it in our daily lives. Since this takes a lot more time and effort to think out and plan, it is harder to actually implement than just solving hunger. For the next segment, I would like to hand it over to my team member, Dia.
Next. In this section, we'll be discussing the statistical patterns affecting zero hunger in different regions. Next. The developing world had a population of 4.36 billion people in 1990, with 1.25 billion people living on less than $1 per day. The East Asia, the Pacific, and South Asia each nearly had 2/5 of the world's dollar a day poor, while Sub-Saharan Africa had about 1/5. Between 1990 and 2004, although the number of people living in developing countries increased by 1 billion, the number of people living under $1 a day decreased. East Asia and the Pacific are the only regions that have seen a significant decline in the number of people living on less than $1 per day. But all these indicators categorize the extreme poor as those earning less than $1 per day. We can further divide them into 3 groups based on their location below $1 a day poverty line. There's the subsistence poor, who are those earning anywhere between 75 cents and $1 per day. There's medial poor, who are those earning anywhere between 50 cents and 75 cents per day. And then there's the ultra poor, who are those earning less than 50 cents per day. We can look below the $1 a day poverty line to determine where those in each group live and how each group has performed consistently over time by differentiating the number of poor in this way. Next. The UN Secretary General believes that technology is critical to long-term development and is urging the technology industry to help bridge the digital divide. Access to and reliability of information is critical for accountability and country development. Mobile technology has already transformed societies worldwide, including the poorest of communities and countries. In many cases, it is empowering women, increasing employment, promoting financial freedom, and even promoting better health. The UN's Global Pulse Initiative, for example, has demonstrated how data generated by mobile phones can be used to map and control the spread of disease and hunger. The technology industry can significantly aid in the implementation of the 2030 agenda. Even the GHI results for this year demonstrate that emerging economies have made significant advancements in the fight against hunger and malnutrition. Next, I would like to hand over to my teammate, Ananya.
Next. Now we'll be moving on to why Agenda 2030 is different from previous goals. The reason Agenda 2030 stands separate from previous goals, like the Millennium Development Goals, for example, which mainly focused on developed countries, is that it tackles the issue from a perspective where, regardless of how developed a country is perceived to be as, they're still seen as requiring further development. It also considers how a country's policies and actions affect the rest of the world well past their national boundaries. Next. The goal also seeks to double agricultural produce and the incomes of people who participate in agricultural activities, specifically focusing on women and other marginalized communities by increasing accessibility of land and other resources. The MDG's target of reducing people suffering from hunger led to the fall of 210 million people in the population of chronically hungry. However, even with this decrease, 800 million people are still unable to get access to adequate food and resources for living. Agenda 2030 aims to bring the people left behind to the forefront. Next, Now moving on to some of the initiatives that were taken in order to achieve this goal. Next. One such example is the Zero Hunger Challenge that was introduced by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, which consisted of 5 main goals, some of which were to end malnutrition in infants, to create sustainable food systems, to ensure people had freely accessible and safe food supply throughout the year, and to create more opportunity for smallholder farmers, and as well as cutting losses of food after production. Another example of one such initiative is Compact 2025, which is introduced by the International Food Policy Research Leads, which helps to create effective strategies to reduce poverty, hunger, and malnutrition by gathering groups of policymakers and researchers to implement strategies at national and subnational levels. With this plan of action, they take countries that have succeeded in fighting these issues and implement those models in other nations to generate worldwide progress. Next. To conclude, the issue of hunger is a multifaceted issue. Each of the causes must be investigated and dealt with in appropriate ways in order to achieve the goal of zero hunger. Thank you.
Time up.
Fantastic presentation by Team 1.
Now the next team for the oral presentation is Team 2, DPS Modern Indian School, Doha, Qatar. Their goal is number 15. Life on Land, and the participants are Gauri Prasad, Kartika Panikar, and Diya Pratish Parekh. Over to you, Team 2, and all the very best to you.
Team 2, your time starts now.
We don't have to engage in grand heroic actions to participate in change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the whole world. Quote unquote by Howard Zinn. Greetings to one and all present here. We, the students of DPS Modern Indian School, will be presenting on our topic, SDG 15, Life on Land. Next slide, please. Let us take a closer look at SDG 15 and see what it aims at. As we know, the survival of each ecosystem on Earth is constantly dependent on the other. We are all a part of this wonderful ecosystem, but we should not be the ones to destroy it. Thus, Sustainable Development Goal 15 seeks to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, and stop biodiversity loss. So next slide, please. About 1.6 billion people in the entire world depend on forests for their livelihoods. Sadly, the number of forests are decreasing at a surprising rate. A range of industries lie in forests and rangelands, generating jobs as well as acting as a source of food, medicine, and fuel for more than half the population. We are unable to meet the 2020 targets of SDG 15 because land degradation continues, biodiversity is declining, invasive species invade, and illegal hunting and trafficking of fauna continue to ruin the efforts to protect and restore ecosystems and species. Therefore, reducing and sustainably using the resources available is of crucial importance. So next slide, please.
Question arises that what exactly causes loss of habitat around our surroundings? Land degradation, poaching, desertification, industrialization, deforestation, climate change, etc. are some of the issues concerning in the decrease of the biodiversity around us. So next slide, please. In India, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, passed in 1960, ensures rigorous imprisonment, which consists of a fine or imprisonment of 5 years or both. The Forest Conservation Act, implemented by India in 1980, ensures a higher level of protection for all forests for non-forestry purposes. In Africa, many policies have been made to preserve the natural forest and wildlife present there. Some of these policies are regulating the logging industry, developing forest protection schemes, and addressing human activities that promote deforestation. as a part of the UN SDG 15 on protecting, restoring, and promoting sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainable forests, combating desertification, reversing and halting land degradation, and biodiversity laws, countries work with the International Atomic Energy Agency and its partners, such as the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, to protect and sustainably use world's natural resources. At last year's 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the Parties in Glasgow, 142 countries committed to the halt and reverse forest loss and land degradation by 2030. They pledged to conserve forests and accelerate their restoration. Public and private investments will be made to support sustainable agriculture, forest management, forest conservation, and community development. So next slide, please.
We all know in a world with a rich biodiversity as ours, several species are yet to be discovered. There are many individuals out there trying to take a small step in helping achieve the SDG 15 targets. One of them includes Susan Murray's works on issues relating to animal health and survival with the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute's Global Health Program. Some of the animals they help include rhinoceros, cheetahs, lions, apes, etc. Another notable step taken by Mark Rober and Jimmy Donaldson, a famous YouTuber whom we all know as Mr. Beast. They were successful in starting the Team Trees initiative, whose aim was to act against deforestation by planting 20 million trees by raising $20 million through crowdfunding. Next slide, please. Although primary data was collected through interactions with people in the form of questions and discussion of their views on the issue, the method of collecting data was mainly through secondary sources. Data was collected from the official website of UN SDGs, also from the results of a survey put forward under the topic Survey Life on Land. Many people are taking small steps by not using products made from animal parts, but most people believe that government is not doing enough to control this issue. 74% of respondents agree that fauna is endangered due to human activities like poaching, trafficking, etc. Some conclusions which we arrived at were: awareness needs to be done on the protection of flora and fauna. More activities need to be conducted among children, such as plantation drives to increase afforestation. More laws should be placed by the government in protecting animals. Wildlife should be preserved in their natural habitat. Scientific practices to be followed when breeding animals. So next slide, please. SDG 15 emphasizes on the importance of the severity of land degradation and biodiversity loss, both on local and global scale. As we increase the conservation of our natural habitats, we also contribute to the economic development of different communities around the world and thus be a helping hand to improve the quality of life for the global community. If we put our hands together to achieve this noble cause, we'll be able to observe gradual changes by 10 years. So next slide, please.
I hope you have understood what SDG 15 aims at and how important it is in our lives. Let's join hands and make life on land our first priority. Thank you.
That was really a wonderful presentation by Team 2.
Now, the next team for the oral presentation is Team 4, Jain Heritage of Cambridge School, Kondapur. Their goal is number 12, responsible consumption and production. And the participants are NC Sia, Arya Rajput, and Ananya Nair. Over to you, Team 4, and all the very best to you.
Good morning to one and all present here. Myself, Ananya Nair, along with my teammates Arya Rajput and Nancy Sia from GHCS Kondapur, are here to present our topic, Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Next slide, please. Through this presentation, we aim to further elucidate the following topics, beginning with an introduction, followed by the environmental, social, and legal aspects of Goal 12, the problem with consumerism, fast fashion problem, the political aspect of Goal 12, next slide please, the technological aspects of Goal 12, an overview of the survey we conducted, ending with a conclusion. Next slide please. Among the 17 SDG goals, our topic of focus today is Goal 12, that is responsible consumption and production. This aim is one that holds a massive amount of weight, as we are not primarily talking about the reduction of the impact of imprudent production and consumption methodologies on the environment, but also on various other aspects like political, social, technological, and legal features of the society. I would now like to invite my teammates to further brief us on the different aspects of Goal 12. Next slide, please.
So let us look at Goal 12 from the environmental aspect. As most of us here already know, consumerism is causing a drastic after effect on our environment. Some of these include pollution. Due to increased production, factories are releasing an alarmingly high amount of carbon emissions. Expanded land usage. Ever-evolving production is leading to a spike in land usage, which causes deforestation. Tribes and villagers residing in and around forests are unable to depend on them for their livelihood, which contributes to famines. And lastly, climate change. All these disastrous effects group together and affect global warming. Next slide. Now we shall put forward the social perspectives. Here are the ramifications that are inflicted upon society due to consumerism. Global inequality. It is very rightly said that the more the devil has, the more he wants, as the rich get richer and the poor get poorer due to the omnipresent existence of the social ladder. As the values of goods increases, they become unaffordable for the general population, which contributes to poverty and the obvious consequence of obesity. Rural unemployment has also become fairly common due to the lack of opportunities in rural areas, which has led to an increase in urban migration. Lastly, another obvious consequence is that of addiction. Multinational corporations get customers addicted to their products through various forms of media, especially the youth of today. Next slide. It may appear as if the consumer is being stripped of their sanity and their rights. However, there are certain legal provisions put into place to protect them from exploitation. These are the right to safety, the right to consumer education, and the right to representation. Next slide. Happiness equals material goods in today's world, and consumption is variable in different countries. So is happiness. And since it is higher in primarily developed countries, not everyone gets an equal share. Next slide. Fast fashion is a prime factor in consumerism and its after effects. Famous fast fashion establishments use the method of mass production to process clothing, which not only exploits its workers, but also the environment. One example is that of the Citarum River in Indonesia, also known as the most polluted river in the world due to the factories near it. Due to the river being highly malignant, children and adults are getting diagnosed with diseases in increasing numbers. In this way, multiple corporations are defiling the surface of our planet and committing crimes against humanity itself. Next.
Now, when it comes to the political aspect of Goal 12, the term political consumerism comes to play. Now, political consumerism is when one uses their purchasing power to express political views and inflict political change in a marketplace. Now, as political consumers, people can boycott products, companies, or services for their undesirable practices or their unethical practices. Now, the price fluctuations caused in the market due to this can directly lead to irresponsible handling of extraction of the resources, as well as sustainability and resource extortion. A very good example would be the situation between the OPEC countries and the USA, where there was extortion of crude oil. Now, the pros of political consumerism is that it can stand as a feature to achieving absolute sustainability, but only if we use it suitably. Next slide. We now move on to the technological aspect of this goal. We need to realize the potential of science and technology innovation, because this is what is going to help us meet the most pressing sustainable development challenges. And we need to do this fast. Next slide. We hope we have covered the important aspects of a society's point of view for Goal 12. As a part of an initiative for the research article, as well as our curiosity, we, Team 4, conducted a survey on the topic responsible consumption and production. Next slide, please. Our aim of this survey was to find out about various different questions posed, such as how many people were aware of the term responsible consumption, where they had first heard about it, and how likely were they to actually purchase sustainable items. Next slide. This survey was conducted amongst various levels, starting from grade 7 to grade 10 students, as well as the teachers of JHCS KP. And our findings from the survey were quite interesting. The different levels of participants had circumstantial and diverse answers, which actually led us to a whole new range of findings.
When asked about awareness of responsible consumption, majority of the students in grade 7 and 8 were hearing the term for the first time. Next slide. Awareness platform. Majority had first come across the subject via the internet. Next slide. preferred awareness platform. Majority of them prefer to learn more about the topic at school. Next slide. Situational responses on stand of sustainability while shopping, where participants responded to how they would try to become ethical consumers. Next slide. Now, there are two very interesting questions we asked under opinion-based reviews. The first question was what we believe the participants would believe the main causes of water wastage in our city were. Next. And the question, which food items the surveyed participant as an individual wasted the most. Next.
Based on all the observations, we can conclude that awareness amongst youngsters, that is the next generation, on this topic has to be taken as a serious initiative, and their knowledge and contribution to the cause of sustainability is crucial. The initiative of bringing up awareness can be done in schools or via the internet, as the two sources are the most preferred amongst the surveyed participants. Once there is an awareness in the people, there will be an apprehensive attitude and bias towards the environment, making them ethical consumers. Next slide, please.
The true beauty of humanity is that we can always make amends before the clock strikes 12. Though attaining the 2030 goal might seem daunting, if we achieve our sustainable potential, we shall triumph. Thank you.
What an excellent presentation by Team 4. Feminism isn't about making women stronger. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives their strength. Quote unquote G.D. Anderson. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you all to our first jury member, Dr. Sonobar Hossaini Ma'am. Ma'am has been a distinguished scholar. Ma'am is MA English, MA Urdu, and PhD English. Ma'am has been associated with various colleges and universities in a capacity of a lecturer. Presently, Ma'am is associated with Mithibai College, University of Mumbai, as an assistant professor. Ma'am has published innumerable research papers and books predominantly on women-related topics. Some are as follows: Feminist Consciousness in Indian Women Writers, Communication Skills in English, Marcia, Elegy to Epic, and many others are also on her name. We are fortunate to have Sonobar Ma'am amidst us today. Now may I humbly request respected Ma'am to address us. It's over to you, Ma'am.
Thank you, Harshit. Good morning, everyone. Principal Dr. Mona Mehdi, CEO Dr. Chandrasekhar, students, and especially today's presenters. It's a great honor and privilege to be here once again, to be a part of such a fantastic program, the topic of which is so meaningful and relevant in today's time. The universal and transformative agenda for sustainable development is not just another plan for the world, but a shared vision of the world. In this regard, students' voices matter as we consider the challenges we face as a global society in the future. Today's conference of young and talented students from so many different countries is a step in that direction. This type of opportunity allows students to develop their own awareness and thinking on key global issues, as well as to articulate their perspectives and critical thinking in a creative and thoughtful manner. As a jury member, I'm blown away by the caliber of the research papers and presentations. The quality of abstracts and research papers this time, I must say, is far, far superior to the previous time. As the great poet Iqbal says, "Tu Shaheen hai, parwaaz hai, kaam tera. Tu Shaheen hai, parwaaz hai, kaam tera. Tere samne aasmaan aur bhi hai." Dr. Mona, the organizers of JGI School, the sky is the limit for you. Organizing an international conference of this caliber is no easy task. I especially admire Dr. Mona for pulling it off so very well to plan and execute an SDG conference flawlessly demonstrates her hard work and dedication. I hope that she will continue to organize such relevant programs under her capable leadership in the future as well. Once again, I thank the organizers for inviting me. It has been a very, very enriching and insightful experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful words. The JGI Group of Schools takes immense pleasure to give away a token of love and warmth to the respected jury member, Dr. Sanobar Hussaini, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now the next team for the oral presentation is Team 3, Delhi Private School, Sharjah. Their goal is number 9, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure. And the participants are Zainab Riza, Tanaya Sharma and Anhat Kaur Hanspal. Over to you, Team 3, and all the very best to you.
Team 3, your time starts now.
For the future of our world, for the succession of our times, and for the promising way for our planet, let's join in and aim towards a sustainable present and future. There's no one else but us who can make this possible. So let's march into this beguiling venture.
A very pleasant morning to everyone present here. We are Team Delhi Private School, Sharjah. Today, for this prestigious event, we will be talking about the 9th Sustainable Development Goal formulated by the UN, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure. Next slide, please. Our presenting DPS Sharjah team consists of the authors Anahat Kaur Hanspal, Tanaya Sharma and Zainab Riza.
Next, please. First, let's talk about what exactly SDG 9 is. Marked by economic growth, it is a social development and climate action, all of which heavily depend on investments in infrastructure, sustainable industrial development, and technological progress. The growth of new industries means improvement in the standard of living for many of us. If industries pursue sustainability, this approach will have a positive effect on the environment. Next, please. We shall now provide a brief review of our research regarding the stated SDG goal.
Next slide, please. Firstly, we will discuss the effect the COVID-19 pandemic has made upon the progress and development relating to our issue. Next, please. The manufacturing industries were seen to have had an adverse impact from the pandemic. There was a 6.8% decrease in production in 2022. Moreover, the manufacturing value share of global GDP decreased by 0.6%. There was a great decline in employment and reduction in working hours. These factors led to the manufacturing industries facing an impact more adverse than the global financial crisis.
Next, please. Outcome goals refer to the endpoint of an event. Here they refer to as the outcome of the SDG. Next, please. Targets 1 through 5 are considered to be the outcome goals. They're stated and addressed as 9.1. Build infrastructures that are inclusive, robust, and sustainable. 9.2. Facilitate sustainable and inclusive industrialization. 9.3. Expand market and financial service access. 9.4. Upgrade all areas of the economy and infrastructure to be more sustainable. And 9.5. Advance industrial technologies and research.
Next, please. Means of accomplishing goals provide a pathway to accomplish the proposed 5 outcome goals and subsequently the 9th SDG goal. Next, please. The goals 9A, 9B, and 9C are the means of accomplishing goals. 9A, support developing nations in the development of sustainable infrastructure. 9B, encourage domestic industrial diversification and technology development. And 9C, universal access to information and communication technologies.
Next, please. Now let's move on to the progress made towards the goal. Next, please. Though the process of SDG 9 has gone through multiple elevations and declines, its trajectory towards the end shows an impressive work so far. The manufacturing industry exhibited a recovery from the pandemic in 2021. Although the rebound has been uneven across countries, with stagnations in these developed countries. Almost 1 in 3 jobs in the manufacturing industry were negatively impacted during the pandemic. Higher technology industries have better performance and recovered faster, providing a strong example of how important technological innovation is for achieving SDG 9.
Next, please. The given map provides a clear and concise view of the global progress of countries in reference to the goals and targets previously mentioned. Next slide, please. Given here are the top 3 countries, namely Finland, Denmark, and Sweden, in making the most progress in achieving SDG 9. Next, please. Shown here is a map portraying the state of countries around the world with regard to their place in the track of achieving the goal by 2023.
Next slide, please. There are several means through which SDG 9 could be further implemented. First, an example of the vital importance of innovation can be seen in the quick advancement of the COVID-19 vaccinations in 2020. As seen from the graph, global research and development spending increased significantly. Similarly, the number of researchers too has seen a rise. The pandemic will not be the last catastrophe the world is facing. Hence, it is of utmost significance to create, continue, and strengthen policy commitments towards financing for R&D. Second, supply chains are essential to trade, which in turn are essential to job creation. Thus, there is a need to support sustainable supply chains to preserve resources and assure that country producers get a fair deal. This can be achieved by setting global environmental and social standards, alongside knowledge and technology transfer to improve quality and add value. Finally, inclusive and sustainable industrial development, ISID, is the primary source of income generation, allows for rapid and sustained living standards for all, and provides the technological solutions to sustainable industrialization. Therefore, a large scale of ISID must be carried out as soon as possible.
Next, please. The 17 goals, though aimed towards different aspects of sustainable living, remain interconnected. The SDG 9 is no anomaly, as direct links have been noted between the goal and the list of SDGs provided. As the SDG 9 promotes sustainability in resilient infrastructures, production of goods and services, and clean energy, completing its targets will help boost SDG 7, 11, 12, and 13. Moreover, sustainable infrastructures can support more productive practices and greater access to water sanitation and hygiene, which would support SDG 2 and 6. Finally, organizations and governments continue to build partnerships to help promote innovation and digital connectivity. These will help to assist SDG 17.
Next slide, please. Sustainable industrialization, resilient infrastructure, and innovation are the necessary foundations for a prosperous and tenable economy and world. Understanding the target set by this goal was beneficial in analyzing the notion, reasoning, and visions in conceptualizing it. There has been significant improvement in technology and innovation. However, there is always room for improvement. Hence, the mentioned methods of implementing SDG 9 are integral for the further progress of the goal. The global goals are inherently linked to one another. By recognizing and resolving these links, businesses can develop comprehensive and systemic solutions that accelerate advancement and reduce negative effects. Like every other SDG, SDG 9, industries, innovation, and infrastructure has a direct impact on the other 16 Sustainable Development Goals. Next slide, please.
Efforts have been made by organizations and communities all over the world.
Now, it's up to all of us to join forces to address the most pressing global challenges and turn goals into actions.
So, how will you bring a change to your community? Thank you.
What a spellbinding presentation by Team 3.
Now the next team for the oral presentation is Team 5, the Indian High School, Dubai. Their goal is number 17, partnerships to achieve the goal. And the participants are Shreshti, Mohammad Ryan Yunus, and Nathania Monsi Jean. Over to you, Team 5, and all the very best to you.
Team 5, your time starts now.
Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. And working together is success. Quoted by Henry Ford. Next. Can one person build a bridge, feed a village, or educate all the children in the city? Greetings to one and all. Gear up as we Team 5 from the Indian High School, Dubai, have something up our sleeves. Set up the stage with us. Myself, Nathania Monsi, Mohammad Rayan, and Shreshti Subahar. We welcome you all to a world of partnerships for goals. Next, achieving the ambitious targets of the 2030 agenda requires a strengthened and enhanced global partnership that brings people together. When we work together towards achieving goals, we have the power of making a dream into reality. Contributing towards the same goal means sharing a vision. Without collaboration and cooperation, is it possible to achieve the ambitions of goals? Next, moving on to the targets of goal number 17, the most important ones are Target 17.7 says to promote sustainable technologies to developing countries. Adding on, we should promote the diffusion and transfer of environmentally sound technologies to developing countries by 2030. Moving on to target 17.8, which states to strengthen the science, technology, and innovation capacity for least developed countries. Aren't we all in the age of technology and era of globalization? Lastly, target 17.11 explains to increase the exports of developing countries. This indicator is assessed as a total export value of goods and services. Handing over to Shri. Next, please.
The pandemic wreaked havoc on people's lives and societies, but how far did it set the global community back in reaching these SDG targets related to decent work and economic growth? Let us try to understand our situation at present with the help of some data. Next, please. Here we can see that many low-income countries, especially the ones in the sub-Saharan African continent, are finding it very difficult to grow and thrive economically due to rising inflation, interest rates, and growing debt burdens. Next, please. As you can see here, the usage of data among population has increased. In fact, we have seen the highest increase in the number of internet users from 2019 to 20, but the digital divide still persists. Next, please. We do face other challenges too that hinder us from achieving these SDG goals, such as the gloomy state of our economy, where major global economies are stalling, and trade policy tensions and uncertainty, which act as a barrier to trade. Next, please. But the most pressing challenge of all is the partnerships themselves. Most of these partnerships are built on private companies, which mainly look for profit from these partnerships, and they're not well aligned to the transformations needed to achieve these SDGs. Next, please. This brings us to our next and most important question. What are the characteristics of a good partnership? Well, individual and organizational members of a partnership should be accountable to one another and to the partnership. Businesses should come together to form partnerships with the means of gaining value, and this can be used to our advantage by providing different incentives to bring these partners together. Learning and sharing knowledge is also important, as they would discuss issues that are not being discussed by governments and thus ensure that they are being implemented. Handing over to Ryan. Next, please.
The methods. We must start treating partnerships as the new normal, and the new normal must include systematic collaboration across all societal sectors towards a common goal. Understanding business incentives, which can be mapped from core to non-core, will help us establish better methods. Next, please. Imagine two countries having two different views on a subject, but if they both align together towards a similar vision, this will make progress rapidly. And when designing and implementing a partnership, it must function on a solid plan, including scoping, managing, revising, and renegotiation. Next, please. All countries, rich or poor, must adapt to climate change, but the differences are astonishing. The poorest countries face the greatest risk from climate change and require international finance support. Our research shows that the adaptation cost will be 0.2% of the global GDP. These estimates are not representative of the scale of challenges faced by the poor countries. In vulnerable countries, costs will exceed 1% of the GDP, while island nations can have it to a whopping 20% of their GDP. Next, please. The EU helps country-led development through a range of financial support mechanisms. A famous one was the Addis Ababa Action Agenda. Recognizing that international public finance plays a significant role, estimates show that the total EU financing for developing countries amounted to a staggering 100 billion euro in 2020. Next, please. The EU imports from developing countries have doubled. This shows the profound impact developing countries can have on their methods. Technology today is available in every corner of the world and is at our very fingertips, signifying the influence it can have on mobilizing resources and putting their well-made plans into action. Next, please. The Van Oord, a new group formed under the umbrella of the Netherlands Business Council. The collaboration, first of its kind, brings together UAE and Netherlands to achieve their ambitious sustainable projects. Next, please. Over to Shrestha.
Let us take the case of the rollback malaria, also known as the RBM partnership, to understand our solutions a little better. It is comprised of more than 500 partners who mobilize resources and forge consensus among partners. Next, please. Now, what made this partnership so successful? RBM's strength lied in its ability to form effective partners for sustainable financing at global and national levels. If there's one thing we can learn from here, it is that nothing can be achieved through isolation. It is now more important than ever to come together to achieve these goals. Handing over to Natanya. Next, please.
To create a better world, we need to be supportive, inventive, passionate, and above all, cooperative. Agenda cannot be reached only with sole action, but asks for the fostering of partnerships for goals, acting as a game changer. Next, the wonderful journey comes to an end, but so doesn't your action to change the world. Is the Partnerships for Goals the secret sauce to a better world? Thank you.
That was an impressive presentation by Team 5.
Now, the next team for the oral presentation is Team 6, the Jain International School, Aurangabad. Their goal is number 13, climate action. And the participants are Yashraj Jogdam, Yashwardhan Astana, and Renuka Sonavne. Over to you, Team 6, and all the very best to you.
Team 6, your time starts now.
Barack Obama once said, "We are the first generation to feel the climate change and probably the last generation who can do something about it." Good morning, everyone. We are Yashraj Jogdan, Yashwardhan Astana, and Renuka Sonavne, presenting our research on topic Sustainable Development Goal 13, Climate Action. Next slide, please. A further presentation will include following points. Next slide, please. So why do we need this goal? From past 100 years, global temperature has increased by 0.85 degrees Celsius. Many of you might feel that this change is very minute, but because of this change, every year, 2 lakh kilometers square of ice is getting lost. The global average sea level has increased by 20%.
In last 5 years, greenhouse gas emissions has increased by more than 50%. Energy related to CO2 emissions has increased by 6% in 2021, reaching the highest level ever. In last 30 years, the number of natural disasters has been increased by 5 times. So next slide, please. Droughts estimated to displace 700 million people by 2030. Medium to large scale disaster will increase by 40% from 2015 to 2030. Next slide, please. The war in Ukraine threatens to become the cause of huge setbacks for concerted efforts to speed up climate action. These changes create a need for Goal 13, climate action. Next slide, please.
Climate change is having profound consequences on biodiversity of planet and also on people's life. Goal 13 aims at taking urgent action to combat climate change and its effects. Next slide, please.
Now, let's have a look on the targets. Target 13.1 is to strengthen resilience to climate-related hazards. From 1970 to 2019, deaths have increased threefold, with 650,000 deaths due to droughts, 577,000 deaths due to storms, 59,000 deaths due to floods, and 56,000 deaths due to extreme temperature. To combat this crisis, the Sendai framework was adopted in 2015. 187 countries have adopted it. Next slide, please. Target 13.2 is to integrate climate change measures into national policies and planning. At present, greenhouse gas emissions are 50 billion tons of CO2 every year, which are 40% higher than emissions in 1990, which needs to be rectified with the help of planning. Next slide, please. Target 13.3 is to improve education on climate change, impact reduction, and early warning. Education helps in the rectification of mistakes. That is why this target aims at the awareness of people about climate action. Next slide, please. Target 13.
Next slide, please.
Let us have a look on some steps taken by different countries towards this goal. Next slide, please. Greece. The Greece government has been subsidizing power and has offered a one-off grant to vulnerable groups at a total cost of 4 billion euros since last year. As part of an additional package worth 3.2 billion euros, the law stipulated that Greece will cover a big part of the increases that households have seen in their power bills from December until the end of the May. Next slide, please.
Ghana signed Paris Agreement on 22nd April 2016 and ratified it on 21st September 2016. Ghana is committed to reduce its GHG emissions and climate adaptation in several priority sectors under its nationally determined contribution. Next slide, please. China is also committed to stop building new coal power plants China government has invested heavily in development and rollout electric vehicles, has provided significant subsidies and incentive to this sector. Next slide, please. Now let's have a look on some measures that have been taken to achieve this goal. As at 31st December 2021, a total of 123 countries had reported adoption of National Disaster Risk Reduction.
By April 2022, 193 parties have submitted their first nationally determined contributions under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. In order to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, scientists recommended that by 2030, global emissions should be cut by 4% compared with 2010 levels. Next slide, please.
Hope doesn't come from words, hope only comes from actions. So now let's have a look on some steps that we common people can take to achieve this goal. The steps are very simple, like use more sustainable transport, reduce, reuse, repair, recycle, switch to electric vehicles, stop paper bank statements to reduce forest destruction. At industrial level, it is very necessary to control level of harmful gases like carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, methane, and nitrous oxide. Next slide, please. In present,
we are taking from future, selling it in present, and calling it gross domestic product. The global businesses should carry out audit of the supply chain to reduce energy consumption across the board, starting from extraction of raw materials to final sale of goods. Next slide, please.
If we achieve goal 13, we could increase and accelerate afforestation, and the biggest problem of climate change will be solved. Next slide, please.
No challenge possesses a greater threat to our future generation than climate change. The climate change is real, science is compelling. Longer we wait, larger the problem will be to solve. Thank you everyone for listening to us patiently. And as we all know that each one of us can make a difference and together we can bring a change. So let's fight for a change, start a revolution to make this world a better, sustainable and more adaptable place to live. Thank you.
Indeed, an excellent presentation by Team 6. The purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. Quote unquote, Sydney J. Harris. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to a learned and a distinguished educationist, Dr. Uma Shankar Sir. Sir is PhD, MPhil, an academician, data analyst, and consultant who has 17 years of academic and industry experience. Currently associated with Christ, deemed to be University, Bangalore. Before joining Christ, Sir was at Kongu Engineering College since 2007 and recipient the Best Faculty Award. Sir has published more than 35 papers in reputed national and international journals and presented in conferences. Sir has certification from IIM Bangalore in the area of business data analytics and is a consultant in data analytics and business analytics. Sir designs and organizes research and data analytics workshops under the brand of STEM Workshop Cake regularly, which completed 13 editions comprising 500 plus participants from 19 states, 29 universities, and 119 institutions across India. Sir is a renowned resource person for the workshop in the area of research and data analytics. He has handled sessions in reputed institutions like Christ University, Bangalore, Anna University, Chennai, Karbagam University, Coimbatore, Bharatiya University, Coimbatore, and NKCE, Karur. May I solemnly request respected Uma Shankar Sir to address us. It's over to you, sir.
Uma Shankar sir, are you there? I think he has just lost the connect. He was there continuously. Just a second. I think we are already going ahead with time, so not to worry. I'll just connect with him. Be there. Thank you for your patience. So that's how technology is. He was there throughout with his camera and on and everything. Just now he started facing a little bit of technical glitch. He has just asked, he's trying to reconnect once again. Thank you for your patience. Just a second, we will just see if he's able to join. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. Not to worry, I'm sure he'll join. Lalita, just keep an check, no, when he joins.
Sure.
I've just requested him to switch off the camera so that lag might be dealt with. Okay, no issues. What we will do, we will move ahead. Once he joins and his connection is stable, we will put him. Yeah, I need to admit him. He's there.
He's entering right now.
I just saw him. Uma sir, you're there?
Yes, ma'am. I connected.
So in case there is any lag or something, you can just switch off your camera and then you can just speak. We will all be able to hear you.
No, actually, there's a fluctuation here. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, everyone.
No issues, no issues, sir. I do understand technology plays havoc at times, and you were there throughout. So you can just switch off the camera. I think that would help you with the bandwidth.
Yes.
Fine. So over to you, sir. We have already spoken all good things about you. We heard so much about your extensive experience and your journey in the AI field, and we look forward to meet you personally as well. Over to you, and I'm putting myself on mute. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. And I'm, as ma'am said, they said so many things about me. When I compare to, I really, even I was part of last year's conference, that is where I thought of the kind of knowledge, the skills these kids, today's kids have, really changed my perspective. So here, and the way the schools taking up, especially the management and the principal taking the initiative, as an old person, I don't believe this actually, because normally what we think when we were as children, so what is our limitation? That's how we think. Okay, we limited. So how it is possible for a school child to go for a conference presentation? Okay, it is not nearly it is possible. That's how I think. But yeah, the school management, the principal had a different thought, and they gone for a one step ahead extra. So that proved that the school is always better than the others. That makes a difference. Okay. So it's really nice to be part of this. I'm, as ma'am said, so I need to prepare a lot for this. Okay, so because it's become a very tough process. I'm finding it very difficult to that make the difference in the scores. Okay, because when we see even got your papers also, so nice and so different from the last year. Okay, so thanks. Actually, I need to thank you all for this great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the kind words. I really appreciate you and your time. Despite being a working day, you all have agreed to be here. I do understand the constraints as well. Over to you, Harshit, to take it ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful words. The JGI Group of Schools takes immense pleasure to give away a token of love and warmth to the respected jury member, Dr. Uma Shankar, sir.
Now the next team for the oral presentation is Team 9, Shri KDU International School, Klang, Malaysia. Their goal is number 4, quality education. And the participants are Xiuman Zi, Dharuna Sri Ganeshan, and Tan Li Ying. Over to you, Team 9, and all the very best to you.
Team 9, your time starts now.
Good morning to all distinguished guests, honorable judges, my friends from other schools, and parents. My name is Dharuna Sri Ganeshan, and today I'm together with my friends Xiuman Zi and Tan Li Ying. And it gives us great pleasure to represent Sri KDU International School, Klang, Malaysia as Asia's first school for digital leadership, and Microsoft Showcase School for having us as part of the International Student-Led Conference, 2nd edition on Sustainable Development Goals, as part of the 8th Chairman's Championship and Initiative JGI on virtual platform. I would like to thank Ms. April Peters, our principal, for giving us this opportunity, and Mr. Labin for guiding my friends and I throughout this research. We also would love to thank JGI School for inviting us to join this competition. Next slide, please. Education is one of the most important knowledge that a human needs to survive in this world. And without it, students will learn life the hard way. This is the time when young students learn the foundational skills of reading, writing, and critical thinking. Quality education is knowledge that helps a child obtain good learning experiences. It is also the place where a person learns life skills, social conventions, develop their judgments, and learn to tell the right from the wrong. This is a quote. Good quality education is a foundation for dynamic and equitable societies, by Albert Einstein. Next slide, please. Ever since the pandemic started, COVID-19 has affected everyone in this world in so many different industries, including education. Did you know that Malaysia was the 5th longest country to have online education? Yes, it is true. Every student was kept inside their houses and forced to complete their online coursework, which had a detrimental effect on the standard of education because students were dealing with challenges like slow internet and were less motivated to study. This inspired us to venture on our research topic. How did online learning affect the quality of education? We conducted 2 different research, one on parents' perspective and another on students' perspective. My friends will elaborate on this further. Thank you. Next slide, please.
A very good morning to everyone. My name is Chuman Z, and I will be presenting the process of the research. We chose questionnaire as our method of research as it gets us more accurate and solid data for our research. We had a total of 144 submissions from students and 104 submissions from parents. Our target responders were students from ages 11 to 17 and parents who has kids that experience online learning. We sent these surveys to students and parents by using social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Microsoft Teams. We sent the Google form to their personal chats and asked them to help us answer the questionnaires. All of them were very supportive. Next slide, please. Questionnaire helped us to get multiple answers rather than just focusing on one type of answer, which would be too general. With these answers, we got to understand both the student and parents' perspective better because there's a variety of answers. There was a total of 10 questions for the student survey and 11 questions for the parents' survey. The source we used to conduct our questionnaire was by using Google Forms. We have 2 types of questions, multiple choice questions and long text questions. The questions were one of the most important part of our research, so we spent loads of time thinking about questions that would help us with our research and made sure that they were not too general. Thank you. Now I'm handing over the presentation to my friend Tan Ling to elaborate further. Next slide, please.
Good morning, all. I'm Tan Ling. I will be sharing with you some highlights of our research findings. If you wish to know in detail of our questionnaires and research findings, you are most welcome to scan the QR codes below to have a better understanding of our findings. Firstly, we were shocked to know 79.5% of the students believe that online learning has affected their quality of education. And majority of the students also felt that internet issues affected their online learning. This is a quote. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, stated by Nelson Mandela. Secondly, we found 12.5% of the students occasionally played games on their phones or used them for other purposes, which resulted them not paying attention during online classes. We also found 56.3% of the students used their mobile phones for other reasons while attending online classes. Thirdly, if parents believe that online learning has affected the quality of their children's education, according to our research, 58.3% of parents believe that online learning has had a negative effect, while a small percentage of parents felt there was no effect. The majority of the students felt they did not obtain a quiet and comfortable environment for taking online lessons. It was either too noisy or just not conducive. For the fourth highlight, if parents motivated their child to study better during online learning, sadly, 2/3 of parents felt that either they were not able to inspire their child to study better or only could motivate them occasionally. Next slide, please. As far as we enjoyed doing this research, of course, we have encountered multiple struggles. For instance, when the question is too general, it doesn't help with our research by not giving us enough data. It was hard to get responses for our questionnaire because there were not enough submission at first. So we had to put in extra effort by sharing the forms in their personal chat and ask them to share to their friends and parents. One of the ways we could have improved was by sharing the questionnaires on more social media platforms, such as Twitter and Telegram. We could definitely add more questions to help gather more data. Despite all these hurdles, we were still able to give our best and complete on time. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Amazing presentation by Team 9.
Now the next team for the oral presentation is Team 7, Jain Heritage, a Cambridge school, Nagpur. Their goal is number 11, sustainable cities and communities. And the participants are Yashika Bhujade, Dhairya Burbure, and Tehreem Hussain. Over to you, Team 7, and all the very best to you.
Team 7, your time starts now.
Warm good evening to all the dignitaries present here. Today, I, Yashika Bhujade, and my teammates Tehreem and Dhairya will be presenting our topic, that is sustainable cities and communities. Sustainable development goals established by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015. The official mission of SDG 11 is to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Next slide, please. Sustainable Development Goal 11 is divided into 10 targets and 14 indicators at the global level. The 7 outcome targets are adequate, safe, and affordable housing and basic services and upgraded slums, safe, affordable, accessible, and sustainable transport systems, enhanced, inclusive, and sustainable urbanization and capacity for participatory, integrated, sustainable human settlement planning and management in all the countries, to strengthen the efforts and protect, safeguard the world's cultural and natural heritage, to reduce the number of deaths and the number of people affected by the disasters, and decrease the direct economic losses relative to global gross domestic product caused by disasters, to reduce the adverse per capita and environmental impact of cities by including paying special attention to air quality and other waste management. Next slide, please. To provide universal access to safe, inclusive, and accessible green and public spaces. Next slide, please. The 3 means of achieving these targets are national and regional development, planning, implementing policies for inclusion, resource efficiency, disaster risk reduction, and supporting the least developed countries in sustainable and resilient building. As Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change you want to see in the world. SDG 11 represents a shift in an international development cooperation from a focus on poverty as a rural phenomenon to recognizing that cities, especially in the global south, are facing major challenges with extreme poverty, environmental degradation, and risks due to climate change and natural disasters. Now, with this, I'd like to hand over the further presentation to Tehreem.
Beta, I think she's having some network issue. You can continue.
Next slide, please. Despite its ambiguous targets and goals, it is still an important tool for addressing urban challenges and calls for actors to develop realistic, locally defined indicators, outputs to fit in the urban context. Next slide, please. Why are cities important? Energy requirement, the multi-purpose projects to be introduced without evacuation of small-scale farmers, then to know how to use potential resources needs to be focused on to minimizing excessive use of other resources. The aim is to make self-efficient and sustainable cities. Next slide, please. Now, I would like to hand over the further presentation to my other teammate, Dhairya.
I don't think even she's able to connect. Yashika, you can continue with her.
Next slide, please. Extensive web research was conducted on the issue and relevant information collected. Many websites related to the United Nations and the related agencies were studied in detail. Scholarly articles related to the sustainable cities and communities were also explored online. Credits have been mentioned whenever applicable. Development in the remote areas of the villages need to be surveyed.
That urban farming helps in improving cities. Now let's have a look. What can young people do to help reaching SDG 11? We should use the public transport. We should use public transport instead of private transport. This will minimize the use of fuel. We should improve water conservation and waste management. Due to increase in India's population, there is an issue of water wastage and waste management. So we should use the methods of 3 R's, that is reduce, recycle, and reuse. We should propose innovative ideas. We are the only youth who can propose innovative ideas. So youth should start green stations, inspiring political change. Youth are the only ones who can propose innovative ideas and bring political stability. Next slide, please. Let's have a look what is the role of SDG 11 in city planning. Cities require monitoring system to support urban visioning and long-term plans. Track process for informed and sustainable development. As earlier described by my friends, there are 7 outcomes and 3 processes that are yet to be implemented, and government is still working on it. And now I would like to hand over it to Tehri.
Together is beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. As we all know that any task is incomplete without teamwork and partnership. And like that only, for achieving SDG 11, we required a partnership. Next slide, please. We required a partnership of government, private sectors, youth, and citizens, because once they come together as a team, it's become very easy to achieve SDG 11. Next slide, please. Now, I'd like to say thank you to respected dignitaries, audience, who has given their valuable time to us. So that's all with our presentation. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Magnificent presentation by Team 7.
The purpose of education is to make good human beings with skill and expertise. Enlightened human beings can be created by teachers. Quote unquote Dr. Abdul Kalam. It's my privilege and honor to introduce to you all with the next jury member, a great scholar and an educationist, Dr. Tajwa Ma'am. Ma'am did her PhD from TM Bhagalpur University, India in Customer Relationship Marketing. Presently, working as a visiting faculty with the Institute of Applied Technology, Dubai and Sharjah branch. The institute established by His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of UAE, provides technical and vocational education to secondary and higher education levels. Ma'am is also working as a standard verifier at Pearson Edexcel. UK Pearson Edexcel qualification is built on the British educational system and offers courses in vocational education and help learners into higher education or employment. In the last decade, Ma'am has served various educational institutions in various capacities and roles. Few are as follows: American University of the Emirates, AUE Academic City, Dubai; City University College of Ajman, CUCE Ajman; Aldar University College, ADU, Dubai; University of Modern Sciences, UMS, Dubai; Emirates Institute for Banking and Financial Studies, Sharjah. Dr. Tajwa Ma'am has published research papers and contributed in blogs on various vocational training related articles. We are humbled to have you amidst us, ma'am. Now may I solemnly request Tajwa Ma'am to address us. It's over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Harshit. And thank you for such a wonderful introduction. I'm really impressed. And Harshit, you made my day. Thank you so much. A very good morning to everyone present here. Dear President, Academic Council, Dr. Chandrasekhar DP, Secretary, Academic Council, Dr. Mona Mehdi. First of all, I would like to thank you for making me a part of this wonderful journey once again. And believe me, I'm more excited than last year because we have, as a jury member, I have seen there is a lot of positive development. There is a lot of better work coming from the participants. Overall, shows a great teamwork. And I'm sure Dr. Mona Mehdi has worked relentlessly. She has been behind all this, and I really appreciate all her efforts. My co-jury members, Dr. Sanobar Hussaini and Dr. Uma Shankar, I completely echo the same opinion as you people have already mentioned. And regarding the submissions, it was great. And I'm sure you people are going through the same challenge that I am in judging and grading these young research scholars. They have done a wonderful work. And to my dear participating teams, you know, someone has rightly said, a little competition is a good thing, but severe competition is a blessing. And this is what the JGI group has provided to you all smart participants here. And it's a great pleasure to see teams from different schools and countries participating on this platform. I'm sure this has given you all exposure and learning, which is beyond comprehension. We have seen very good research abstracts, articles, which is backed up with a lot of data, enriching information that's coming from you all. And we also do learn from these kinds of information. So the learning is on both the sides. And it reflects your interest. It shows how much you have taken interest in the whole, in your participation, how much you have paid commitment, and the kind of knowledge that's been reflected in these works. And I promise you that this is all that is needed to make you a successful person. And as Dr. Mona said in the beginning, that participation in itself is an achievement. So all the best and more power to you all. Thank you so much. Over to you, Harshit.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspirational words. The JGI group of schools takes immense pleasure to give away a token of love and warmth to the respected jury member, Dr. Tajwa ma'am.
Now the next team for the oral presentation is Team 10, GEMS Modern Academy, Dubai. The goal is number 8, decent work and economic growth. And the participants are Aggie Dominic, Chirag Lila, and K.R. Nandi. Over to you, Team 10, and all the very best to you.
Good morning, everybody. We are the students of GEMS Modern Academy who will be presenting on
Team
SDG
10,
8.
your time starts now.
My name is Aggie Dominic. The next speaker will be Chirag Lalla, and the final speaker will be K.R. Nandi. Next, please. Imagine a world where underdevelopment is no longer an issue, where every human being receives equal opportunities and resources no matter the country they live in. Why haven't we achieved this world yet? And what can we do to achieve it? SDG 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth, focuses on promoting sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth for all countries. This would solve the problem at hand. But in order to achieve this goal, we must address the vast list of issues preventing it. Today, my team and I will be addressing a particular problem, the issue of unequal gender representation in the workplace. This issue is clearly depicted by the graph on the screen, which shows the rate of women inclusion over the years, which has been taken from a case study by UNICEF in 2021. Next, please. We wish to examine the effect of this issue on economic development through our research question: to what extent does the inclusion of women in the workplace affect the economic growth of developing Asian countries? My teammate Chirag will elaborate on the issue behind the specific research question. Next, please.
Thank you, Aggie. This brings us to our issue, which is the inequality of representation in the workforce, which has grave effects on the economy of developed and developing countries. But what truly affects unequal gender representation in Asia? Some of the key factors are lack of unbiased opportunities, lack of higher education in women, presence of strong societal norms, and stereotypes against women. There are many factors that seem to affect the work life of women in Asia. Globally, the proportion of women in the labor market who are between the ages of 25 and 39 declines by about 10% for every additional child. Opportunities for women and girls to grow economically and educationally are restricted in many countries. Another factor for poor economic development is unconscious bias against women and violence against women. Higher medical expenses, missed work days, and lost revenue are all consequences of violence against women. The economic cost of gender-based violence is estimated to be between 1.2 and 3.7% of the GDP, which is comparable to what many nations spend on their education. All of these factors not only affect a female's everyday work-life presence, but it also greatly increases the gender wage gap. Hence, this issue reduces our capability of achieving the fifth target of the SDG 8, which revolves around equal employment opportunities and equal pay for all women across the world. Now my teammate Aggie will speak on the methodology of improving the situation.
Next, please. To reap the benefits of equal gender representation, we must first increase it in developing Asian countries. So what can we do to improve the situation? There is only one way to increase gender representation, and this is redefining the image of women in these societies. And three methods of beginning this journey are as follows. The first is removing gender bias in employment. In order for there to be equal gender representation, there must definitely be equality of opportunity, which cannot be achieved in the presence of gender bias. A survey conducted by the World Economic Forum in 2021 finds that most gender bias in Asia is unconscious, which causes severe problems at a larger economic scale. This situation must be rectified. The second is examining the effects of gender stereotypes on the economic growth in these countries. Let's take the example of the stereotype women are meant to be caregivers. Many legislations back up this motion by only providing paid maternity leave, but no paid paternity leave. This influences women to either leave their jobs or compromise on their careers in order to provide their children with good parentage. This severely affects gender ratio in the workplace, especially in higher positions. Reducing gender stereotypes can also go a long way in reducing the violence against women, which we already know affects the GDP of a country. The last is enforcing education for the female population. Increasing the education in women also increases their opportunities. This also provides the country with more skilled labor, which in turn increases the GDP output of the country as a whole. These are just a few changes that we would have to make to improve the situation. But this is a great start. My teammate Kea will explain the results of methodology. Next, please.
What would happen if we implement the methodology? How can we even predict that? There is one way, and that is by examining past precedents of these methods. The case study of Iceland's paternity leave, when the expectation of women being caregivers was reduced, the increase of women in the workforce was exponential. A case study undertaken by Howard University in 2008, evaluating 15 US corporations, found that the inclusion of women in the workforce boosts morale and the overall efficiency. Even the UN has stated the economic empowerment of women raises productivity, enhances economic diversification, and increases income equality. When more women are given the chance to work, third world economies grow at a faster rate. Therefore, the results of the methodology can be estimated quite accurately. There will definitely be an increase in GDP that can boost the economic growth of the developing Asian countries. Handing over to Aggie. Next, please.
From the results that Kea has elaborately explained, we can see that we can derive the answer to our question through past precedents. An example would be the graph on the screen, which was released by the government in Iceland to showcase the rise of women inclusion after the implementation of paternity leave. Hence, from these precedents, we can say the inclusion of women greatly affects the development of developing Asian countries. They are currently an untapped resource that can boost the economy of these countries to a large extent. Unequal gender representation hampers the country's progress, any country's progress. But the countries that are the most affected are the ones that are still in the process of developing. This is why the issue
Time up.
is so vital to address.
Time
We
up.
must work on this issue to achieve SDG 8. Thank you for your time.
What an impressive presentation by Team 10.
Now the next team for the oral presentation is Team 8, Jain Heritage Cambridge School, Shamirpet. Their goal is number 6, clean water and sanitation. And the participants are BNVK Shrija, P. Sakshit, and V. Kirtan. Over to you, Team 8, and all the very best to you.
Team 8, your time starts now.
A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries present here. I'm Shrija along with my teammates P. Sakshit Reddy and V. Kirtan. And we are from Team 8 from Jain Heritage Cambridge School, Shamirpet. And today we are going to proffer our presentation on the topic clean water and sanitation, which is the goal 6 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Next slide, please. Goal 6 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals describes about the provision of safe and clean drinking water and germ-free sanitation worldwide. It was an initiative taken by the United Nations in 2015 to bring this goal into force of action. We can see that clean water and sanitation are the basic needs of any human being, and also that they are correlated with other sustainable development goals like goal 3, 8, 13 and goal 14. Next slide, please. Here we see different reasons why this goal is in an urgency to be achieved by 2030 and what are the major roles because of which we are facing this catastrophe. The main reason of this adversity are unsafe water, inadequate sanitation, improper hygiene, dumping of chemicals and lack of sanitation, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic.
Next slide, please. Here are few methods which are adopted to improve the quality and quantity of water. Number 1, biotoilets. Biotoilets are a decomposed mechanized toilet system which decomposes human excreta. Number 2, solar ball. Solar ball is a water purification device based on renewable solar energy. Number 3, dry bath gel. It is the first of its kind, an innovative germicidal water gel for cleansing our body without the use of a single drop of water. Next slide, please. To make this initiative possible, we need to make sure to achieve certain targets. Let's visit these targets. Target 6.1, providing safe and affordable drinking water to everyone worldwide. Target 6.2, ending open defecation and providing access to sanitized water and keeping an eye on the needs of women in vulnerable situations.
Next slide, please. Target 6.3, improve water quality, wastewater treatment, and safe reuse. Improving water infrastructure must be a priority as water conservation and efficiency are key components of sustainable water management. Solar desalination and smart irrigation systems are great examples of clean technology for water efficiency and control. Target 6.4, increase water use efficiency and ensure freshwater supplies. It is a way of more effectively utilizing every single unit of existing supply. Efficient water use can lead to overall reduction of total water consumption to greater economic productivity. Next slide, please. Target 6.5, implement integrated water resources management. It is a process that promotes the coordinated development and management of water, land, and related resources in order to maximize economic and social welfare. Target 6.6, protect and restore water-related ecosystems. The degradation of aquatic ecosystems and natural resources within a catchment impacts biodiversity, environmental water requirements, water quality, and the ability to use natural resources.
Next slide, please. The target 6.6a talks about the expansion of water-related ecosystems and accessibility to germ-free sanitation and improvement in helping the nations which are developing in this aspect. It can include the process of wastewater treatment, desalination, etc. And coming to the target 6.6b, it briefs about the involvement of local industries and organizations to work towards this goal and help us achieve it by 2030. Next slide, please. This goal has 11 indicators in all, which recognizes the custodian agencies which are responsible for the reporting of these 11 indicators. The major part is played by the UN Water Global Analysis, which provides and updates about the condition of clean water and sanitation among different parts of the world. The custodian agencies which are involved in this and which are also playing a major role are JMP, WHO, UNICEF, UN Habitat, UNESCO IHP, FAO-STIT and EQUA-STIT, UNECE, IWMI and GLAAS.
Next slide, please. This initiative is not introduced to overcome the issues related to this goal in a specific country. Instead, this initiative was created to face these issues worldwide. A program named WASH SDG has provided safe drinking water, sanitation access, and hygienic conditions to millions of people. And this initiative was a success in countries like Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Nepal, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia.
Next slide, please. With the given graphs, we can comprehend that the percentage of drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene services have increased between 2015 to 2020, and the amount of acceleration required to achieve universal coverage by 2030.
Next slide, please. With this, we conclude that water is a basic necessity and a natural resource which should be protected and not be polluted. And we definitely can't overcome this without proper sanitation. We must understand the role which we play in the society. Next slide, please. Before leaving, I want to ask a question to all of us that how are we contributing to achieve the goal of clean water and sanitation? Thank you and have a blessed day ahead.
That was an amazing presentation by Team 8.
A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his actions and the integrity of his intent. Quote unquote, Douglas MacArthur.
This stands true for the man who strides the ship of JJ schools efficiently, giving an edge to the teaching learning process through his sharp and far-sighted vision and his outstanding organizational skills. He is none other than but the Honorable President Academic Council, CEO JJ Group, Dr. Chandrasekhar DP, sir. Now may I solemnly request respected sir to kindly address us with his words of wisdom. It's over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just switch on my video. Yeah, can you see me? Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, first of all, to today's presenters, the team of young researchers from across the world, I can say, who have been educating us for the last 1.5 to 2 hours with phenomenal research and information. Honorable, respected jury members, for your time. My team has already thanked you for all the services you have rendered in making this program a grand success, but I'll be joining them in extending my gratitude for all the efforts, the time, and also the insights you have given us. My fellow council members, Secretary Dr. Mona Mehdi, and Joint Secretary Mrs. Lalita Kosaraj. I cannot thank you enough for all the time, for the effort in making this, for the planning to the execution and the umpteen number of rehearsals. And in the same vein, I want to thank all the principals of the participating schools, heads, coordinators for giving your support. Because for anything to look grand, it takes the whole community to give their shoulders. And I think you have shown it in word and spirit in encouraging these young researchers. Now, for the last 1.5 to 2 hours, ever since this program commenced, I am on a transit. I'm on the road, as you can see in my video, but I never blinked my eyelid for the last 90 odd minutes in understanding, in listening to the various topics which you people are sharing. And few words caught my attention. And those words are ethical consumerism. Fantastic message to the generation we are all living in and to protect the future. Another statement which was made by another team said, you are taking from the future and calling it your gross domestic product. Very, very well said. And it also rings a bell in many of our minds. Now, when I listen to all this, two words actually are kind of running in my head. The first word is discretion. Second word is decision making. What do I mean by these two words and why these two words are playing havoc in my mind ever since? The reason is the minute you choose to decide, you got to make a discretion. And the vice versa is also true. Let me simplify it. The minute you have a discretion, your decision making becomes that much more better and sharper. One team said the devil wants more. The more it has, it wants more. Let's look at it from that context. All of us come from privileged backgrounds. Yes, I say this with a lot of humility, but still the kind of access, the kind of education, the kind of comforts we all have across the world, and these participants who are here, we all come from privileged backgrounds. With that privilege, as Spider-Man or Superman says, with great power comes great responsibility. With that privilege comes the ability to decide. And that begins with your discretion. How much is too much? How much is enough? Today, young researchers, children have taught us that we need to exercise that discretion in our lives more often than ever. Be it the way we buy, be it with the way we consume food, or be it the way we plan industries, enterprises, or innovation, enabling technology, adopting them in our lives. All of them has to begin and end with discretion. Because if it is that discretion which will make us better human beings and better decision makers. Today, our children, I completely resonate with the jury that they have actually pushed us against the wall. They have actually pushed us with so much of insight, so much of information, and so much of opinions of the younger generation. They have done polls, they have done surveys, they have even done simulation exercises, and they have given us access to those research reports. And when you go through them, when you listen to their findings, you understand one thing, that whether it is the question of sustainability, or whether it is the question of global warming, or whether it is the question of collaboration and problem solving, the time is now. We need to act now, and this is already late. Nations, societies, communities, and schools have to come together. I say schools with a particular intention. I'm really happy that we are that catalyst as Jain Group to provide this kind of a platform for people to come forward and exchange their ideas and present their findings, because this is very important. This is absolutely necessary. at least for the last 1.5, 2 hours, and the next 20, 30 minutes or 40 minutes, we are all engulfed in a thought process. And the thought is, can we do something more to the planet? Can we do something more to the society? Can we do something more to the next generation other than just being good name lenders or legacy lenders? Because we all believe in creating a legacy for ourselves and try to give that name so that the next generation takes it from us and takes it to the next level. That is fine. I have no problems about it. But is that the only responsibility we all have? Or do we have more than that? I think the last 2 hours, this Chairman Championship, the second edition of the Sustainable Development Goals Student-Led Conference, has given us a lot of food for thought, has given us a lot of time to introspect and reflect on the fact that whatever we are doing, whatever we have planning for our future is not enough. We need to do more, and thanks to students, thanks to the young researchers from across the world who have participated in this program, that you have brought together to the forefront a lot of valuable insights and key action points for all of us. You have made it simpler. You have made it very, very actionable. And let me tell you that right from the fact that how can I become a more ethical consumer, to the fact that life on land has to be taken care of and we need to protect, we need to preserve, we need to conserve, to the extent of the last topic, which was speaking about different things of partnership, how one goal can be achieved only by achieving all other goals. It's not just the 17th goal, it's also about the goal of industrialization or innovation, where they said explicitly, and I repeat them, that it can only be possible when they collaborate, when they fulfill other goals. Even the concept of education, I was appalled to understand the statistics which said 79.5% students accepted that online education had an impact on their quality of learning. Now, we may say anything as educators, as providers of quality education, sitting across the world as teachers or principals or management, but that's the horse's mouth's verdict. 79.5% of students are saying that their quality of education is indeed affected. Now, that can vary across the spectrum. Some places the quality may be better, some places the quality might be bad. Network connectivity, digital divide, whatever you want to call it, you can talk about it. But the fact remains that children are affected. And as educators, as providers of quality education, that's another red flag for all of us, where we need to understand that we need to take care of these kind of things. So I think in a nutshell, we have understood one particular fact, that there is a lot to be done. And I am absolutely certain that this kind of interaction, this kind of presentation, these kinds of coming together of minds. And one other thing which this entire episode has brought together is, for learning, there is no age limit. For learning and acting and collaborating, we are all part of one thing. In India, where I come from, and majority of you have your origin, we have the celebrated fact of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the entire world is but one single village. Now, that is what is coming out of this particular conference. And I'm glad that we, as I said in the beginning, are catalysts to make that happen. We are a catalyst to bring it together. So once again, I want to really take some time to appreciate all the teachers who have actually spent time with your teams. It may be those 3 children who are coming together and presenting it, but it is the teachers who have provided the time, the help, the support, and also the research. And I really appreciate you for that work, for handholding them. At the same time, I am completely blown away, as one of the jury members said, by the quality of the presentations. Now, I am a communication skill fan by myself, but when I saw students presenting with so much of confidence, with so much of preparation, with so much of poise, and with so much of style, I felt that this is no less than a G20 summit or a YEA summit, which happens across. I mean, you switch on BBC or CNN or CNBC, and when you look at the live telecast from the United Nations Security Council meeting or some of the YouTube talks which are available, no less, right from the background, right from the way they are presenting themselves, right from the words, right from the sentences. But at the same time, as an educator, I want to give you this one piece of feedback and some suggestion to the children who are presenting. Please keep this in mind. Every single time you come up with a slide, the less text on the slide, the better. Because parents, teachers, audience, or anybody who would like to listen to you, and those slides are just cursors, are landing points for you to drive home the point. I know your abstract, your research paper can be filled with text and tables and charts and other things, but as far as presentation is concerned, please take my feedback. Try to keep it minimalistic. The more pictorial pictures and the less crowd in terms of words on the screen, it will be definitely more impactful. That is one feedback I want to give to all the students, for all the presenters across all schools. Another suggestion I want to give to teachers, coordinators, and all the schools who have come together. First of all the schools who are participating, especially schools who are non-JGI schools, thank you so much for believing in this idea. Thank you so much for coming together to support this particular platform. And it is, as I said earlier, I'll repeat, it is your platform. I said that at the beginning of the last student-led conference, and I'm repeating it myself, that this is the platform for you. This is your platform. And on that note, I want to say that all of you, all the 10 schools here, be connected, stay connected, and take it to the next level. It is not about winning or losing this particular paper presentation competition. Yes, unfortunately, there can be only 3 top winners or 1 winner of this second student-led conference at the end of the day. We will definitely take the advice and suggestion of the jury, and we are going to introduce some of the special prizes, which I think you will be hearing in the next part of this program. But that does not mean that the journey ends here. We have come together. I think that quote was repeated twice of Henry Ford. Coming together is just the beginning. Now, let's work together for success. And this success is not just of mine or yours, it is ours. And success can happen only when we are connected, we are together, and we continue to collaborate and focus on our global village, which is this planet Earth. So let's focus on that. That's my request. That's my submission to this particular program. I'm eagerly waiting for that publication to come out so that I can spend more time to look at that research papers. And I can completely empathize with the jury members, because it's not easy. We kind of at JGI have outsourced the, I can say, headache to the 3 eminent jury members. So they have to decide as to who wins and who comes second. But then I can empathize with their plight, because the kind of work you people have done over the last 1 month is phenomenal. So hats off to children, hats off to parents for supporting them, hats off to the coordinators and to my team. And I'm not biased here, but I've seen them 6 o'clock in the evening Indian Standard Time. They are meeting almost every day for rehearsals, for clockwork precision, the technical team, all of you. I think you deserve a big round of applause, and that is your duty. I will say that is your duty to support the future generation of dreamers and researchers. So I think you have done a phenomenal job once again in helping these young children. So they are the future and they will guide us. I mean, one Greta Thunberg is not the person who needs to be celebrated. But when we recognize such a person, a young person in front of international media, it is a recognition to the entire youth of the world. And today we have got, I think, 30 such people who needs to be celebrated through this particular platform. And I'm really, really delighted to be sharing your company amidst my travels, that I was totally enriched from morning. And I'm really, really happy that I chose to spend my time on this particular Zoom conference. Thank you once again. God bless all of you. And we look forward to be connected for the years and the future. Thank you.
So request you to kindly release the third edition of the Smart Diamond.
Sure. It is a pleasure to bring together the compilation of Smart Diamonds. But for all of you who are new here, Smart Diamonds is an in-house publication where we celebrate our students, their work, their compilations, their art, or their contributions in the literary area we bring together. And I want to take a second to talk about why have we named it Smart Diamonds? Because the concept originated from our honorable chairman, Dr. Roychand Chenraj, in whose honor we are celebrating this chairman's championship every year around the Children's Day week. He never addresses students as children. He calls them as smart diamonds because he believes that each and every child is a diamond, a raw, uncut diamond. They only need to be cut, given that kind of nudge or maybe a little bit of polish for them to go on and shine in the world. So that's the reason why we call it a Smart Diamond. And I'm delighted that we have come so far as volume 3. And today it's a privilege to present this Smart Diamonds volume 3 in front of all of you. And we have almost 4 schools, that is 12 people minus 30. So we have got at least 18 new Smart Diamonds who are entering this habit or this kind of world of Smart Diamonds which we have in JGI. So I think we dedicate this version of volume 3 to all of you Smart Diamonds who are presenting the papers today. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And I take this as a privilege to launch Smart Diamonds volume number 3.
Thank you so much, sir. And in the interest of everyone, it has just been, the link has been given in the chat box. You can copy and use it later on. So thank you so much for that honor. Over to you, Harshit.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for stimulating and enlightening words. We will receive not what we idly wish for, but what we justly earn. Our rewards will always be in exact proportion to our service. Quote unquote, Earl Nightingale. Now, may I humbly request respected Academic Secretary Dr. Mona Mehdi ma'am to kindly take over the next segment.
Oh, what a day it has been. I am sure you all have enjoyed it. It's almost 2 hours over. But we did it within the given time. And that's the beauty of JGI. Whenever we have events, we ensure and we respect everyone's time. So Indian Standard Time, it's 12:30 right now, and we are done with the sessions. Nothing could be more gratifying than hearing these young minds working towards a common goal. Firstly, I need to congratulate all the teams for the efforts put in to make this event a memorable one. Each one of you were fantastic. I can really, as Sir said, that we really empathize the jury members because I was seeing that they themselves were totally into it. And I really need to appreciate the jury members. Once again, despite being a working day, they have given their precious 2 hours. So thank you so much, jury members, once again. But one thing which we all need to know is the best part of a competition is that through it, we discover that we are capable of what we are capable of and how much more we can actually do, which we could have ever believed of doing. And this is my job. I was the point of contact for, getting everything done. And when the results come, though I have to declare the result, but if given a chance, I would have said 30 of you are the winners because you had the courage to face the audience. A live, link is already there in all the schools. I'm sure almost all the schools are having this being in their auditoriums, played in their classrooms. They're all watching you live. So my job is to decide and declare, not decide, basically to declare the results. And here we are with the much awaited awards for the International Student-Led Conference on SDG. The award categories were the best abstract, the best research article, the best presentation, best team, and here we had to add on the jury members' request, runners-up team as well, and the best speaker. So The first award will be the Best Abstract category. And the Best Abstract goes to team number 3. Let's clap for them. It is Delhi Private School, Sharjah. The goal was goal number 9, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure, with Zainab Raza, Tanya Sharma, Anand Kaul Hanspal as team members. So congratulations, team. You did a fantastic job, and that's why you have been. I always feel that great design is the foundation of great business, and a research article gives the glimpse of the kind of work can be done in a specific area. All the teams, you had done a fantastic, phenomenal job. And during my interaction with the jury members, I could understand that it was really tough for them to decide the best one. But then in a competition, there has to be one best. So the second in the award category is the Best Research Article. And it goes to team number 1, Cambridge International School, Dubai. The goal number was 2-0 Hunger, with Ananya Pramod, Archana Suraj, Diya Mohan as team members. Congratulations, children, for the extensive research work which you have done. Wonderful. Now, you can't always be the most talented in the room, but you can always be the most competitive. And this is what the state of all the presentators today was. Each team gave a tough competition to the other. And as I was seeing the jury members filling in the judgment sheets, it was interesting. It was all online. So on the basis of your today's oral presentation, the next award category, which I'm supposed to declare, is the Best Presentation Award. And here you will not be having any certificates ready because it has to be on the spot, and I have the results with me. The Best Presentation Award goes to team number 5, Indian High School, Dubai, goal number 17. The participants were Shrishti Subhar, Mohammad Rayan Yunus, Nathania Monsi John. Congratulations for the best participation. And now it's the time for the best team, for which the evaluation of abstract, research article, oral presentation has been considered. Really, it was tough. But then I feel it is nice to have valid competition as well. It helps you to do better. As per the jury members' recommendation, we are having the Runners-Up Award for the best team as well this year. So first, I'm going to declare the Runners-Up Award for the best team. And it goes to team number 2, DPS Modern Indian School, Doha, Qatar. Their goal was goal number 15, and the participants were Gauri Hari Prasad, Kartika Pratish, and Divya Pratish. Congratulations, children. You were fantastic. Can we have this clap? Now, we have the Best Team Award. And I don't know if you want to guess and write on the chat box. I might not be able to see because I'm seeing these sheets here. I have the results. The Best Team Award goes to team number 1, Cambridge International School, Dubai. Goal number 2, 0 Hunger. The participants were Ananya Pramod, Archana Suraj, Diya Mohan. Congratulations, children, for the fantastic work you all have put in. Congratulations. Last in the award category is the individual award for the best speaker, which was totally based on your today's performance. And I wholeheartedly appreciate the jury members for doing the justice within the stipulated time as the teams were presenting. It was all being done online on the Google Sheet with no discussions amongst any jury members sitting in different locations. And the jury has decided that the Best Speaker Award goes to Chu Man Zi from team number 9, School Sri Kudu International School, Malaysia. And the goal was quality education. Congratulations, Chu Man Zi. You did a fantastic job. And congratulations to all the teams. Thank you so much, jury members, all the participants and the audience for your support, cooperation, and patience in making this event a meaningful one. Congratulations, dear awardees. Kudos to your efforts. This is just the beginning for each one of you. The journey begins now of walking the talk. You need to walk the talk. But before we conclude the award ceremony, there is one more award given in JGI, that is to the subject expert for the term, and it usually happens during the Chairman's Championship. I take this opportunity to declare this award as well. All the subject experts are putting in a lot of efforts to ensure high standards of teaching across all the branches of JGI. It is an important designation with lots of responsibilities. Keeping into consideration all the parameters, it was tough to decide the award, but then the Academic Council has decided that the Term 1 Subject Expert Award will be given to Ms. Tarannum Sheikh, the Social Science Subject Expert. Congratulations and keep up the good work, Ms. Tarannum. Congratulations. With this, we come to an end to the award ceremony, and over to you, Harshit, to take the program ahead. Thank you.
Heartiest congratulations to all the winners and all the participants. Your hard work has been really paid off. This is such a proud moment for all of us. Your principals, mentors, and teachers to deserve an acknowledgement. This event has been a success since you gave your 100%, and here you are, tipping away not only the awards and recognition, but also a lot of confidence and knowledge. May I now request respected Joint Secretary, Mrs. Lalita Kosaraju ma'am, to propose the vote of thanks. It's over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anshul. Am I audible? Yes. Thank you. Good afternoon, one and all. Yes, we must find time to stop and thank the people who make a difference in our lives, said John F. Kennedy. Yes, surely each and every one of you have made a difference, and we need to take the names of each and every one who was part of this 8th Chairman's Championship Student-Led Conference. I'm really happy to have got this opportunity to do the honors. So on behalf of the entire staff, students, and parents fraternity, first and foremost, we need to salute our leader, President, Academic Council, and CEO, Dr. Chandrasekhar DP, for his vision of having an international event, which has come true last year, but we have outshone ourselves and made it even more bigger this year. So thank you, sir, for leading, guiding, and motivating us to make that vision materialize and to outdo ourselves. Our deepest gratitude goes to our 3 eminent jury members. We cannot say enough to all these 3 jury members, Dr. Sanobar Hussaini, Dr. Uma Shankar, and Dr. Tajwar. For them, it was a long, long journey going through those research papers, abstracts, and also being here live with us, attentive throughout, listening, observing, and analyzing each and every one of these participant students from these 10 teams. I'm sure you had the toughest time to judge today's presentations. Thank you so much for sparing all your valuable time in spite of your busy schedules. Next, we sincerely thank the 10 participating schools of this mega event who have been with us, coordinating from almost a month and ensuring their students are giving the best. We would like to thank Cambridge International School, Dubai management and students for their active participation. We thank DPS Modern Indian School, Doha, Qatar for their active participation and also extend our gratitude to Ms. Asna Nafiz, the principal, and Ms. Lakshmi Bijoy, the coordinator, for all their cooperation and coordination. We extend our gratitude to DPS Sharjah, the management and students for their active participation. Next, we sincerely thank GEMS Modern Academy's principal, Ms. Nargis Khambata, the principal, Ms. Divya Rajaria, the coordinator, and the students for being a part of this mega event. We extend our gratitude to Sri Kodu International School from Malaysia. Thank the principal, Mr. April Peters, the coordinator, Mr. Lavindran, and the students for giving their best to this event. We thank the Indian High School from Dubai, their CEO, Mr. Puneet, and their principal, Dr. Abhilash Chaubey, for sending their students. We extend our sincere thanks to the 4 JGI schools, principals, their coordinators, and the students as well. Principal TJIS Aurangabad, Mr. Praveen Sonawane, COO Ms. Shikha Srivastava, coordinator Ms. Taranum Bhanu for coordinating and ensuring the students were well trained. Principal JHCS Kundapur, Dr. Mona Mehdi, coordinator Ms. Sucheta Malhotra for being there and coordinating with the students. Principal JHCS Nagpur, Ms. Monica, and the coordinator, Ms. Archana Tiwari, for training the students for this event. Principal JHCS Shamirpet, Ms. Rahila Tabassum, the school coordinator, Ms. Nasima Khanam, and the students for their active participation. A big round of applause to all those wonderful creatives, invitations, and the teaser videos, which were so well crafted by Mr. Praful Karthik from TJIS Aurangabad, under the able guidance of the vibrant COO, Ms. Shikha Srivastava. So thank you, Ms. Shikha. We thank the principal, JHCA Shamirpet, Ms. Rahila Tabassum, for the PowerPoint presentation for today's event, which was such a pleasure to watch. Thank you, Ms. Rahila. Big thanks to our web and graphic designer, Mr. Syed Imran, who has created each and every certificate that all of you would be receiving. Special thanks to Mr. Santosh, who has been a huge pillar of technical support for ensuring all the rehearsals, and most importantly, today's event went off so very well without a hitch. He was there continuously coordinating with the coordinators and the students of all these 10 teams individually, so that they get the perfect coordination for their final presentations. Thank you so much, Santosh. Now, the time has come to put our hands together to our 2 showstoppers, Harshit and Anchal. They have taken us through these 2 hours plus so smoothly and so flawlessly. Great job, both of you, and you will go places with this kind of exposure and experience. God bless both of you. Last, but the most important torchbearer of this event, the most vibrant, systematic, and a very professional leader in JGI, none other than our secretary, Dr. Mona Mehdi. She has started the student-led conference with SDG goals last year and has ensured that this year it is a much bigger one with 10 schools competing for that championship. She has put in hours of her time to ensure that this mega international event was of the highest standards. She was there for each one of us, be it the youngest student participant or the principals and coordinators of the various schools, guiding, giving suggestions, sending those most important innumerable mails, coordinating and staying connected with the jury members, and being part of every one of those rehearsals to make sure the whole event goes flawless. We are blessed to have you leaders, ma'am, and I think you deserve the biggest round of applause. On behalf of each one of you watching live on Zoom, as well as watching the live streaming, I would like to end my vote of thanks with the loudest of applause to the heroes of today. All the 30 participants of the 10 schools who have worked extensively, researched, learned, also impacted their peers and made their schools, families, and all of us proud. I'm sure this learning will be taken forward in their lives and they will become more responsible citizens of the globe. Thank you so much, children. And thank you, each and everyone. Over to you, Anchal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now I request all of you to stand for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Now may I request all the participants of 10 teams, academic council and jury members to kindly switch on their cameras and smile please. And I request all the others to switch off their cameras.
Santosh, do let us know once it is done. I want all the participants only and the jury members and the council. So is there, the jury members are there? No, yeah. Fine. Santosh, are we done?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Done. So Harshit, please ask others also to join.
Now I request all the distinguished guests, coordinators, and the participants to switch on your cameras and smile please.
That is the best part when you say smile, please. So we have to smile.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Harshit?
Thank you, everyone, and have a nice and happy weekend.
Oh, wonderful. So, sir, we are done with this. Thanks to each one of you.